just wondrfully
I'm trying to focus on you because you're disappearing into a red haze.
Yeah.
Do you did you get your
Bryan,
news
did you
from
close
Marjorie?
your eyes like that because the spirit of truth just jizzed in your eyes?
When people ask, is everything a conspiracy? The answer is yes.
Who and what is controlling everything and why? They practice sorcery. I can't argue against magic.
I don't know what it is that we live on, but I believe it's a realm. This realm that we live in is the lowest level of heaven, highest level of hell.
Chicken snake gods and the Anunnaki and sorcery. If Sam says the chicken snake god is running everything, I'm literally in the world of crazy. I'm winning.
You're losing. Conspiracy Social Club, aka Deep Waters.
Highway to the danger zone.
I have a good voice. I really do.
You really do.
It's amazing how much better it's getting, too.
I want to address something real quick, you guys. We were supposed to put out an episode. Daddy went a little too hard too quickly.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Sam,
I just need you guys to know that.
Sam,
it is the dumbest thing. It's incredibly stupid.
It was a bit of a clusterfuck, and we were cluster screw. Sorry, buddy.
God,
it was a little bit of a cluster, you know. And so we
decided. It was
decided.
bar.
Yeah, but yeah.
So that's why I didn't go out. I promised to make it up for you. It is on me because Daddy just went a little too hard too quickly instead of just letting it flow.
Well, Daddy just says things, and then Big Daddy has to come in and say, not so fast. Now, I had an interesting experience this weekend. I was at the Vulcan Comedy Club, Vulcan gas station in Austin, Texas.
Gas station.
And I did.
You're playing gas stations now?
No, but it's called the Vulcan Gas Company, something like that. And I was there, and I was on a panel with Destiny, Steven Destiny. He's the streamer, very popular and important, intelligent voice on the left, if you even want to call it that. And then Alex Jones shows up, and then a constitutional lawyer, free speech lawyer, and another guy, I can't remember his name, and then Bill Ottman, who created Minds, which is like this alternative Twitter, free speech.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And it was really cool because at the end of the day, Alex Jones said, see, Alex is very, very, he's very, very theatrical, and very, he's just very theatrical. And he is a conspiracy theorist. I read his book, and he does believe in sort of this biblical struggle that's going on between, the godless and
a lot of people would say, like, that's called being correct. Go on. What I realized was that at the end of the day with Alex, I think I basically agree with Alex across the board in terms of his understanding of what makes this country great. And one of the things we were talking about was, I said, how do you control misinformation? How do you control, like we were talking about the Twitter files. And Destiny was calling for some kind of government censorship. Okay.
And there should be some kind of a panel at Twitter, at these companies, and in the government that can somehow parse through what's dangerous information.
Okay.
And
real quick, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Who decides what the dangerous?
Okay, so that before you even get to that question, which is a very important question, I said, and somebody else said, who decides? Who decides what is
Can I ask you
what's not?
Okay,
and let me just finish. And Alex Jones basically said, we do, the people. And then I raised the question, this whole panel, I said, well, how do we stop information, somebody who's really good at misinformation from swaying an election, like, an hour before the election, people change their vote. And Alex Jones and all of them said, well, pretty soon human beings know to be careful about information. Everybody will have their way of verifying whether it's bullshit or it's true.
Yes.
Sorry, I think we're okay with swearing, actually. We don't get flagged.
What?
And so
a couple things.
So I found myself agreeing with Alex Jones because at the end of the day, all information should be out there.
and you let the people, you let the marketplace decide. Human beings are not stupid. If you had a bunch of false information, we're going to figure it out.
Right.
Let the information out there on COVID, on vaccines, on masks.
Yeah.
Let it out there and let people choose for themselves. And that's the end of the discussion. Because the minute you start talking about censorship or a council of experts, it goes back to your question. Who do you trust to be the arbiters of good or bad information? Because all of us know human beings have bias.
Okay. So real quick, I just want to say a couple things. I think Destiny, and I have none against him besides blue hair, I mean, which is a giant red flag for me. Okay. Anybody in blue hair is going through stuff. But outside that, on Tinfoil Hat, my other podcast I'm well known for, I have done shows where I debate people. I will not do that anymore. And I'll tell you why. Because I have learned that everybody, the listeners on both sides, whoever I'm debating, they bring their fans, I bring my fans. Everybody tends to leave there with the same opinion that they came in with.
Yes.
What they've done to us is they've turned us into emotional monkeys, right? And that we react emotionally. So the notion that somebody could say something that would sway an election an hour before, right, is absolutely ludicrous to me. What they've done to us, Bryan, is they have made us look at facts and information from an emotional sports point of view, meaning, is this coming from the left or is this coming from the right? And depending where this information comes from is whether I think it's real or I'm fake. So the notion that if someone put out some misinformation, that's going to sway somebody from going one way or the other, I think it's a giant fallacy.
Let me give you an example of misinformation. So this non-binary, which by the way, the non-binary group who want to be part of
what he's talking about real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at this Saturday Night Live thing. I can't even watch it. It makes me too mad.
Totally.
But she basically said, she basically is the non-binary cast member. She's a big girl from Cleveland. Stop it. Stop it. And what do you mean by non-binary? So you feel like a man sometimes and a woman sometimes? You don't know. Define how a man feels versus how a woman feels. Define that.
Yeah.
Define that. Because I don't even know how to define it. I guess do I wake up feeling like a man? Well, I think she's either
she's an opportunist.
She's either an opportunist, a narcissist, or just not very smart.
Or no, incredibly brilliant and incredibly smart to know that at this moment, at this time, there's a tiny window.
Yeah, she might be
for her
troll.
to step her giant self to step
she
through
might be trolling,
hey, Saturday Night Live, you don't have any non-binary
high tech troller.
And this is I wouldn't even say it's troller. It's just an understanding of an opportunity that may not.
I would agree with you, Sam. I would agree with you, except for she did something that I consider unforgivable. And she did something that I consider to be beyond harmful. She said Republicans want to stop trans kids from getting health care. Let's just stop that. That's what she said on national TV. Usually I always think that we are presented with the most extreme boogeyman on each side. The boogeyman right now is the Democratic Party. The extremists are the Democratic Party. The extremists are people on Saturday Night Live who watch it and applaud
who's
that
watching
statement.
it?
Hopefully nobody.
Nobody.
But I hope not. But this person, this woman from this big chick from Cleveland who pretends to be non-binary, whatever that even means, nobody knows. She said, when you say, first of all, you don't know who a trans kid is. Trans kids don't know if they're trans kids. The psychologists don't know. The parents don't know. The kid doesn't know because children's brains aren't developed and they're going through different phases and everything else. I wanted to be a cowboy, etc. Gay children sometimes present as the opposite sex for a while until they figure it out. It goes on and on. I'm not a psychologist. But what she's actually advocating is puberty blockers, castration, and double mastectomies for children.
Yeah.
So you're evil.
She's an idiot.
And the people clapping
She's a
that are evil.
idiot.
Yeah, but she's a bad person if she actually is doing that.
Non-binary describes a person who does not identify exclusively.
Blah
as
blah
a
blah blah
man
blah
or
blah blah blah.
Everything
It's-
about
I want
her
to be part of a
doesn't say
movement.
that, by
I want to
the
be
way.
part of a movement with just words.
No, dude.
Let me see. Let me.
Brian.
Okay.
Brian. I
Sorry.
want to say something real quick. You are giving her too much credit outside of she wants to be famous. She found a way to game the system by identifying as non-binary, which like is the most ridiculous thing in the world. And she got on Saturday Night Live. So I was talking about this on stage. About my good friend Steve Renazizi. I was in Toronto and I was talking about Steve Renazizi, and I was like, you know, a lot of people are very upset at my friend Steve still. Most people have moved on, but some people are very upset at Steve because Steve presented something that at the time isn't real, and that is that he was in the towers on 9/11. And why did he do that? Well, because let's face it, we had a patriarch fever in this country, and he was looking for a way to game the system and get in. Now, full disclosure, I would say I survived the Holocaust to get on Rick and Morty's. I would tell everybody that if I could get on there, I would be like, oh, I survived Auschwitz. So just so you know. But people are mad at Steve because Steve wanted credit for something he didn't actually go through, which is hilarious to me because someone needs to tell me how that's any different than the black people in San Francisco wanting reparations for slavery that they never actually experienced.
Or non-binary people wanting to be part of the trans movement.
Or this chick wanted to get on Saturday Night Live.
When there's no operation, you didn't do anything. You're just like changing your gender so you can be in the cool
remember
club.
when we had Pink Fox on and she's like, I'm a trans. I'm like, you're a dude with makeup on that's banging chicks. Like, that's Prince to me. Prince was like that,
well,
right?
But Pink, though, is at least somebody who's gone through the hormone treatments and all that. Has breasts.
Her dick still works.
Sure.
Like, and I love Pink. Pink is great, but it's all the same thing.
Well, a very important thing to keep in mind when you have that operation, you might take away your ability to have an orgasm for the rest of your life. Oh, by the way.
So we should play the clip, but there seems to be something awry. The bell is very, very close towards Bryan right now. I feel like it should probably be in the middle of you guys.
That's fine. We're going to get into a conspiracy. I want to get Sam's take on the leaker.
Okay, great.
That's what I really want to do because I actually have my own conspiracy on this.
All right, so this is Saturday Night Live. By the way, she is saying she's non-binary. That is a fat chick to me.
Well, that's a big girl from Cleveland, yes. And
and Bryan, I'm allowed to say fat chicks because I fucked a lot of fat chicks. Okay?
Yeah. She's a big Cleveland gal. She's probably.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, she is taking an opportunity. She just found an opportunity.
I know, but she's advocating for the mutilation of children.
Okay, can you play it loud so we can hear it?
Yeah.
And I have a red line in the sand. And if you're that person and you talk about gender affirming care for kids, you're my enemy.
Yeah.
I don't like you.
Yeah.
You there's no middle ground for me. Just know that I don't like you, and all I want is you to shut the fuck up, and you're my enemy. And I'm never compromising. So like this, he's a dummy. The audience is dummies.
Well,
She's a dummy.
listen to this.
Healthcare for trans kids.
Listen to that, Michael.
Yeah.
Restricting healthcare for kids. For some reason, there's something about the word trans that makes people forget the word kids. If you don't care about trans kids' lives, it means you don't care about frickin' kids' lives.
Wow.
Stop.
Really? Huh.
Not
the 30-year-old
laugh
the 30-year-old
in there. Not one laugh.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be a laugh. That was a political statement. And Saturday Night Live is so again, Saturday Night Live is also supporting the mutilation of children. That's what's going on. And the sterilizing of kids. You think puberty blockers don't cause irreparable harm? You think puberty blockers don't change somebody's entire endocrine system and are not dangerous? Show me the science. You are sterilizing
Bryan,
children. You're a scumbag.
When I was a kid, you know how bad I wanted to be a ninja? All I wanted to do was be a ninja.
But this is different.
I don't want to be a ninja.
This is different.
Anymore,
These
right?
Democrats, the Democratic Party, the Biden administration, and Saturday Night Live, and those actors and that audience are cheering on the idea that a child knows the difference between their genders, suddenly decides they're another gender because they feel like that. Please explain what that feeling is, define that. And then they're saying it's okay to have an industry, a lot of money in it, an industry that will do irreparable damage to their reproductive organs, and they will never be able to have intimacy, have an orgasm, and have children.
Yeah.
And they can do that, and they think that 9 years old, that 10 years old, that 13 years old is okay to do that. You're evil. You're evil. You're my enemy. You are the enemy, and you're the worst kind of human being. So that's how I feel. Is that my red line in the sand? They are pushing me over.
Yeah.
Now I want to go to war.
Well, that's what they want. They want
scumbags.
They want division.
Scumbags.
That's
weak
what they want.
Dummies.
Do you think that Bryan is falling for a psyop right now?
I
right
might.
left
By the way,
paradigm?
by the way, I hope I'm not, because I think I'm being trolled on the biggest the biggest platform.
Well, Bryan, you're being trolled in the sense that they want division. They
caused it. They got it.
They want America divided.
They
so
got
we can't
the moderate.
They
got the moderate. They pushed the moderate over.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well, hopefully the moderate still has faith in the government for some reason, because we've got to talk about these leaks.
Okay. So let's get into these leaks here. So obviously everyone, unless you live under a rock, knows that the Pentagon papers were leaked and that they had to find this guy and they got him. And man, and now oh my God, everybody, including the people whose job it is to question the government, are demanding tighter security, demanding that the Pentagon lock stuff down, demanding that Biden does more moderation. And let's hear your point before I tell you where you're wrong. Go on.
I think you're going to be surprised. I think that this guy was provided the information.
Bang! There we go.
By somebody in the Department of Defense.
My work here is done. I'm going to hitchhike out of town.
I'm going to read you something from a high-ranking DOD official.
Is this one of your friends?
Is this Kash Patel?
This is something from, I don't know, I hope I can say this. This is from the former chief of staff at the Pentagon and former deputy director of national intelligence.
He's in your phone?
On the Ukraine leak. This is suspected leaker, Jack Teixeira, would not have had access to the information without someone within the Department of Defense or the intelligence community giving it to him, providing it to him, or telling him it should be put out there. It's just not possible. Even though Teixeira worked in information technology, he still would not have had access to the information. You can be the biggest IT person in the Department of Defense. You are still compartmented off of the actual information. Almost never does an IT person need to know, as we say, the substance of the intelligence. Their job is to provide the secure information systems around it to protect any disclosures. This is crazy sensitive stuff. 99% of people who have a top secret SCI clearance don't have access to the information. And me, as the former deputy DNI, chief of staff of the Department of Defense, and publisher of the Presidential Daily Brief, with the highest security classification, knows that. Literally, there is not a lot of people in the U.S. That have access to this kind of intel. It says very few. It's done for a reason, so this doesn't happen. Whether he's in IT or not, it's irrelevant. The way it was produced, the way it was put out there, pages printed, photographs taken, published online, that is a methodical way of releasing classified information illegally. I think he's definitely working with other people in the Department of Defense or the intel space to get this information out. This is an Assange-style operation. This kid, no offense to him, is 21 years old. He cannot put out this 5 months unlawful disclosure of sensitive intelligence. That guy might know a couple things.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that now the intelligence community is saying we may have to now monitor your chat rooms?
This is just, Bryan, what this is like, and this is where you don't
Ring the bell.
You kind of
Ring the bell.
Yeah.
Because I would have argued with you. God damn it.
Well, I just want to go a little deeper, Brian. And what is like I told you, false flag, right? This is he's just saying the term. He's just describing something which is known as a false flag. So, what is the purpose of this? This is where we get into what makes you uncomfortable, which is spirituality. This is manifestation. What the U.S. government and our intelligence agency is trying to do is to get us to manifest the desire for them to censor us more. Censor me harder, daddy, okay? So they put out this and they try to create this uproar that we need to demand more censorship. And the reality is, and I sent you a clip of the press, which its job is to put the government and all their officials' feet to the fire, okay, asking them, what are you doing to ensure this doesn't happen anymore? Which is the whole thing with the Russiagate, Brian, which was everyone was going, how are we going to stop this hacking? Nobody was going, hey, but what about what's in the emails? Like, what the information in the emails? How come nobody's asking Hillary about what's in the fucking emails? That's my issue, right? Nobody's going, hey, man. Everyone's like, how are we going to censor this more? No one's going, hey, man, what do you mean Ukraine's getting its ass kicked? What do you mean Zelensky has stolen $400 million? Why aren't those questions being asked? Why aren't the question of our hard-earned tax money is being pilfered by this guy that says our sons and daughters are going to die in this war?
Well, don't you think, though, that... Don't you think that China's watching Ukraine very closely? Do you think they would invade Taiwan if we had done nothing? What do you think?
I think Taiwan is China's, buddy. I really do. I'm sorry.
Do you mean now or in the future?
The Taiwanese don't feel that way.
I think it's always going to be.
The Taiwanese don't feel that way. They have their own economy, their own leaders, their own democracy. Taiwan's a democracy.
Okay.
Do you think the Communist Party? The Communist Party should be allowed to go in there and kill and jail people who believe in democracy and take over a country?
Well, but Brian, I don't want that, but I'm also not going to sit here once again and have the U.S. government be the police of the world.
But we've been doing that for 7 years.
Yeah, and look where it's gotten us, Brian.
It's gotten us it's gotten us liberal democracies in Europe.
Oh, God.
Hasn't it?
Brian,
hasn't it?
Okay.
Do you think Poland...
And here we go.
It has.
Okay.
What do you think that World War II was the idea?
All right. Will you go where? Can we go back to the?
So you don't believe in the sovereign. You don't believe in sovereignty. You think Russia should be able to go? Do you think Russia should be able to march into France and Germany? Do you think Russia should be allowed to march into France and Germany?
No.
Okay. So what would you do if they did that?
I would say good luck to France and Germany.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
So you believe in communism?
No, I don't believe in communism.
But you believe in the invasion and destruction of the country.
Brian, again, I was just in Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
Canada.
Right.
Where they don't spend 50 cents of every dollar on the military.
What if the Russians went into Canada? What would you do?
Well, that's a different story. That's on our border.
Then England and France are some of our biggest trading partners?
Right, Brian. Brian, if we want to go to war, we can't police every moment of every inch of every land. We can't.
We can't. We do, though.
We can't.
We've been doing it with
North. We can't, Brian.
What do you think? We've been doing it with NATO for the past 7 years.
And look at where it's gotten us, Brian.
It's gotten us.
Look at where it's gotten us.
It's gotten us the liberal democracies of Western Europe.
You're crazy, Brian. You're crazy.
So you believe in communism?
Okay.
Wait, do you believe in communism?
You're a turncoat, Sam.
You believe in communism. So you don't think the United States should ever... So you don't believe in allies.
Brian, so what you're saying...
It's amazing.
Brian...
That's incredible.
Is that Europe didn't exist before America? Is that what you're saying?
No, that has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Did
Europe exist before America?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was able to defend itself at some point before we were there.
You think the French and the Germans could defend themselves against the Russians?
I think they should figure it out, yeah.
They should figure out how.
Yeah.
How would they figure that out?
Hey, Brian, I'm going to tell you this.
How would Spain, France, Italy, and all our allies who were with us during the war, how would they, and by the way, massive trading partners, how would they figure out,
Brian,
how would they figure out Putin's
Putin's artillery.
Bryan,
Tell me. I wonder.
Real quick, Bryan, who beat the Nazis?
Who beat the Nazis?
Yeah, who was the reason the Nazis lost the war?
The Allies.
Okay.
The Allies.
And who did most of the damage, Bryan?
The Russian winter?
Thank you. The Russian winter.
So you're pro-Russia.
That's disrespectful.
You're pro-Russia?
Bryan, I'm pro-people.
You're pro-Stalin? Stalin was the leader of Russia at the time.
I'm pro-real history, okay?
Yep, I know. Stalin was the president of Russia at the time.
Right, Bryan.
He was a good guy? Or
right, Bryan.
You think he was a good guy?
Bryan, do you know that? Do you
think he was a good
Bryan,
guy?
Do you know that France has assassinated more African leaders than anybody else? Do you know that France is taking basically 50 cents of every dollar some of these African countries are taking? So do you want to play that game where we're gonna sit down and go, this guy good, this guy bad all the time?
Yes, I do.
I mean, okay.
No, we can do that.
Yeah, you want to do that?
Have to
then
do that.
France is a piece of shit, okay? And we should defend them for what they're doing to Africa, all right? We can play that. Whether Stalin's a piece of shit.
Where is France?
Stalin is a piece of shit.
Where is France doing
And by the
that?
way, we basically installed Stalin.
Are you talking about colonialism with Britain and everybody
what
else?
I'm talking about, Bryan, is you're trying to act like some people are cleaner than others.
They are.
And really?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm talking about in geopolitics, you and I should
Bryan,
be aligned with the
Stalin
fact
is a
that
piece
liberal
of shit.
democracies.
Stalin is a
Brian's turn.
You and I should be aligned with the fact that liberal democracies and free markets,
yeah.
so sovereign countries,
Yep.
with free markets and liberal democracies,
Yep.
as messy as they are and with all the problems that they have,
Yes.
and as dirty as their hands may be in foreign policy, liberal sovereign states
Yeah.
who have been our allies for 70 years.
Yeah.
That would be Germany.
Yep.
That would be England.
Yep.
That would be France.
Yep.
That would be Spain, Portugal, the Norway, Sweden,
Yep.
Finland.
Yep.
We can just keep going, right? Denmark. All these countries you can travel freely, go to, and they've got thriving democracies, thriving economies, thriving standards of living.
Interesting.
Okay, which is a fact.
Yeah.
I've been there too many
Why
times.
doesn't Africa have that,
Finn,
Bryan?
I've been there. I've been
Why
to
doesn't Africa
I've been
have
to
it?
Africa.
But that
We
doesn't,
can
I
talk
didn't
about
ask you
Africa.
where you've traveled to.
I'll get to Africa. Can I do this first? I'll get to Africa. So all of that is the case. Now, you honestly think that the United States should allow Russia to do whatever they want, including invade those countries, take them over, and do whatever they want?
Bryan, what you're doing right now is a exaggeration, okay? Russia isn't going into France. Russia isn't going into there. And please tell me, like, Taiwan being any different than what we've done with Puerto Rico. Okay?
Taiwan is a major economic trading partner, a major economic
Bryan,
powerhouse.
Bryan.
And Taiwan for the past 70, 80 years, I
Yes.
think 60 years, has been what? Has been its own sovereign democracy.
So Bryan, what you're saying is
And you wanna
because
just let
China may, and they probably will, but may go into Taiwan, we should continue to throw wasted money after wasted money into a obvious losing battle in which that leader says our sons and daughters are going to die in that war.
You've not done any research.
Oh,
You're also wonderfully taking Zelensky's comments so out of proportion. It's hilarious.
okay,
It's adorable.
okay.
That's adorable. Do you get your news from MarjorieTaylorGreene.com? I'm being honest. Do you?
okay,
You get your news from there?
Are you insulting me?
No.
Bryan?
I'm asking you because I know you get your news from other things. But
Okay.
do you subscribe?
Coming from the guy that just said that the dude with the blue hair is wonderfully
I'm
intelligent.
trying to focus on you
Gotcha.
because you're disappearing
Gotcha.
into
Yeah.
a red haze.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
Did you get your
Bryan,
news
did you
from
close
Marjorie?
your eyes like that because the spirit of truth just jizzed in your eyes? Oh, it's in my eye.
Sam,
I can't see.
Sam, there is a reality to
No, Bryan,
geopolitics.
hey, you don't know where that reality is. You are so far from reality.
Well, can we talk about reality for a second?
Yeah.
What if China does invade Taiwan? What do you think that we should do, and what?
Yeah,
does
Bryan,
that
what
lead
would you
to?
like to do?
So I think we have the naval capacity. I know we have the naval capacity, and we have the capacity in general to keep Russia at bay. Russia and China, both our enemies, both communist dictatorships, essentially. Both countries run by small groups of small groups of men. We have the ability to
Who are you
keep
talking about? The
those
United States?
China and Russia.
Oh, the United States.
We have the ability to keep both those countries.
Okay.
Are you? I want to ask another
Okay.
question.
Are you going to ask me if I'm a communist
from
again?
their territorial aggression?
Yeah.
Do you think that there is at least a difference?
I'm doing everything I can.
Do you think there is at least a difference, Sam,
Yeah.
in the Soviet Union and the United States in terms of how they behave globally and in the way they expand. Do you think the United States is worse than the Soviet Union?
Worse.
Why?
Because look at the last 20 years, Brian.
I have.
Yeah. And who is Russia invaded?
I 100% agree.
Thank you. Can I get that? Can you clip that real quick? I'd like that clip. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for a great
Russia's
show.
invaded.
No, it's not over.
Russia's invaded 9 countries, actually.
Okay.
Nine sovereign countries.
How many have we?
The grand total really of 2.
Okay.
Afghanistan, which I understand, Iraq was a mistake.
Hey, hit it. I need it, please. He said that the United States has invaded a grand total of 2. Please play that.
All of those people.
So let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Talking over the drops.
Yeah, I agree, bro.
So
you're talking over the drop.
I'd like you to bring up 2 pictures. I would like you to bring up the difference between Grozny before the Russians invaded and Grozny, Grozny.
Hey, real quick before you do that, can you look up Libya and what happened with Libya real quick?
That was the Libyans. And I also want you to bring up
I can't.
Look, you're right. You're right to be outraged.
Can we end the show?
You are right to be outraged at the United States' behavior in the Middle East.
Thank you.
And you're also right to call the United States out on the rug in the hardest way on their behavior for the past 20 years in both Afghanistan and especially Iraq.
And Libya and Syria.
Yes.
Okay.
I would agree with that. I agree.
So this is Grozny after the Russian invasion.
That's how the
when
Russians.
Is that? What year was
that's
that?
Grozny. That was 1991.
1995.
95.
That's how
the Russians do business.
Really, Brian?
That's
Are
how the
you
Russians
going
do
almost
business.
30 years back?
But that's how the Russians do business. Bubba.
Okay, yeah.
No, really.
Yeah, okay.
Take a look at the Russians. What the Russians did to Aleppo. And their carpet bombing of that city.
Go look at how Libya went from the high standard of living in Africa to just a failed state. And Hillary Clinton go, we came, we saw, he died.
I agree. I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
All right, Brian.
You are right about that.
Okay.
I think, though, you would agree that it's really important when we have these discussions, though, to draw to, this is going to sound nuanced because I know you believe in good guys and bad guys.
I don't.
You believe.
I believe they're all bad guys.
But you have to draw the meaningful difference. There is a meaningful difference, and the reason you have to draw a meaningful difference is it'll give you context so that we don't repeat these mistakes, right? So we have to see, where do we go wrong, but where is the United States better than Russia? Probably in at least the fact that people like you can talk about this, and I can talk about this. We can criticize our own government, hold them to task, and vote out the people, or try to.
Well, I agree with all of you to the vote out part, but and I don't want to get into election fraud.
I would say
I will not discuss this anymore on this show.
But I would say, well, not only because you got proved wrong, but
no,
I would say that just the Dominion is right. Now, here's what I'm saying is that, and they'll win that case. But here's what I'm trying to say
and that's unfair.
What? I'm just saying.
Well, because he's trying to lock down on this, and you're just prodding him because you have the freedom of speaking about it, and he's trying to be nice boy right now, and you're being bully.
All right.
Thank you.
But I do think you're being morally consistent, Sam. I will give this to you. You're being morally consistent. You're calling out your country for the crimes it committed in Iraq.
By the way, can I just real quick, not my country, the military-industrial complex.
Fair enough.
It's my same argument I have with Israel. Most Israelis are good people. Their government, I have problems with the policies of their government, which would make them no different than Canada, China, and every other country I've criticized.
Sam, you ever get too tired of cooking? You ever get tired? And you ever want like really delicious meals, but you want them.
I crave it.
Yeah, okay. Well, see, here's the thing. We're all too busy to cook.
I'm running nuts.
All right. Well, there's a company called Factor.
Whoa.
Okay? Yeah, it is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Helps you fuel up fast, ready-to-eat meals, and they are delivered straight to your door, okay? Let me tell you something. It's fresh. They're never frozen. They're ready in just 2 minutes. Great job. They're ready in just 2 minutes, okay? They've got 34 chef-prepared, dietitian-approved weekly options. There's always something new to try. Plus, you can round out your meal and replenish your snack supply with an assortment of 45 plus add-ons, including breakfast items like egg bites, smoothies, and more, all right? Now, if you want to cut back or take out, get Factor instead, okay? You want to cut back on takeout?
Yeah.
Get Factor instead.
Bam.
Not only is Factor cheaper than takeout, but meals are ready faster than restaurant delivery. They're ready in just 2 minutes. And with Factor, you can rest assured you're making a sustainable choice. They offset 100% of their delivery emissions to your door with renewable electricity from their production sites and offices. And they feature sustainably sourced seafoods.
Wow.
In their meals. Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
It's actually pretty awesome. So head to factormeals.com, Factor, Factor meals.com/CSC for Conspiracy Social Club.
CSC 50.
Yep. So factormeals.com/CSC50. Use the code CSC50 to get 50% off your first box. That's code CSC50 at factormeals.com/CSC50 to get 50% off your first box. Let's go.
Let's go. I've criticized.
And
So
speaking of the military-industrial complex, this is a list of countries that the U.S. has invaded.
Let me see it. Afghanistan. Let me see. Austria. No. I'm talking about in the past 20 years. Damn it. Get that.
There's a lot of countries.
Hey, will you do me a favor?
We haven't invaded.
Will
all
you
those
do
countries.
me a favor?
That's not all. That's not
Will
true.
you look up
None of that's true.
all the countries that didn't have a Federal Reserve, a centralized bank? Will you look up?
Let me read all these.
Stop.
Go back to that
I
list.
would like to talk.
Okay, I want you to go back
Hey,
to that.
Brian,
I feel like
can I talk, please?
I'm sorry.
We
Okay.
need senior moments with Sam Tripoli. I mean, we've done this before.
What's he saying? What's the question?
No, but he. It's not my senior moment. It's his senior
What's the
moment.
question he's asking?
The question is, invade all the countries that didn't have
Will
a
you list them?
WEF
Will you
relationship.
remind him of all the countries in the year 2000 that did not have a centralized bank?
Sam, do you know what centralized banks do?
Brian, please stop.
Do you know what they do?
Okay, stop.
Do you think centralized banks are bad?
Yes. And
How do you set the value of a currency?
You don't, Brian.
How do you lend money to other countries? How do you borrow money from other countries?
Brian, do you understand that the usury is why everybody's hurting right now?
Sam,
you. Brian,
usury is
please
just
stop.
lending money at interest.
Brian, please stop.
Usury is just lending money at interest. Do you think you should be allowed to do that?
And it tends to be in a deal that you cannot ever pay off.
Are you saying money is the root of all evil?
Yeah.
Then I would agree with you.
Thank you.
Truth is, though, we live in the real world.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to step out of the Bible,
Yeah.
and you are in the Bible right now. And I need you to get out of the
Brian,
land of
aren't you the
Jericho.
guy that's reading about religion and getting religious?
I am getting
Okay,
religious.
so what are you talking about?
I am getting religious.
Okay.
I'm becoming more and more religious.
Okay. Are you into the Bible?
I am.
Okay, so why am I wrong?
Because you are you're a tweaker.
Okay. Okay.
No, I'm a tweaker. I'm a tweaker. I'm a tweaker.
Wow.
No, I'm a tweaker.
Wow.
No, because my shoulder. No, I had.
That's a straight red. That's a straight red.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay.
I'll give myself a.
No, I'm not giving you
I'll
the
say
red
this.
card. Hold on. That's
can't
30
say
seconds
anything.
of shut the fuck up.
God damn it, Brian.
Okay, our government, our military, the world monetary system, Babylonian money magic, has hijacked our government. It was through the Bush clan kind of started it. They hijacked our government, turned our military into their stormtroopers, and they've been using our military to curb stomp anybody that either resisted our policies or had resources we wanted. They've used divide and conquer to cause us to fight over stupid stuff like some fat chick that's non-binary on Saturday Night Live, so we don't pay attention to the fact that we are a frog in a pot, and they're using us to cause chaos in the world. And it's not the United States. Hey, dude. Hey.
Whoa.
He's not done yet. I haven't
He's done. I put the timer up on the screen.
Oh, it's over? 30 seconds?
Sam,
Thank you.
we have the highest standard of living. We can, like, it's not
Brian,
like they're
what
destroying
you
our
don't
lives.
understand, Brian,
Yeah.
is that when Bush comes back from his bullshit tour of World War II, which his story changed like 5 or 6 times, okay, and he brought with him the Nazis that redid our history, and they slowly, incrementally changed everything. He couldn't do it overnight. They had to do it slowly over time, okay?
Can you answer me a question? Why have we lifted more people out of poverty in the past 20 years
Who?
than at any time in history? The world. The
Who?
world.
Where?
The world
Where?
has lifted-
Where? China, we did.
Wait, hold on. China, Vietnam, Malaysia. Look this up. By every metric, you can't find a metric that
Oh, you
disagrees
mean
with
Brian? Brian, are you...
all of Europe, Eastern Europe, even
even in the Middle East to some extent. And that's a fact.
Right?
True or false?
I find it hilarious.
The standard of living.
That you're thinking that we brought democracy and everywhere.
No.
What we did, Brian, is through free trade, we brought jobs that were in America, we brought them to these countries, and slowly lifted them up a little bit.
So that's kind of a
from
big deal.
dog crap to a little less than dog
Isn't that
crap.
a big deal?
Okay.
They have enough to eat.
Brian,
Famine's
it's
no
not a
longer
good
an issue.
big deal because what they did was they stole wealth from America. Okay, they took jobs from America. Jobs that were created in the United States were brought over, and then what you don't even understand,
America's
Brian,
standard of
is
living
that our
went-
U.S. military made deals with these countries that if they allowed us to put military bases in their country, they would do free trade deals in which they could tariff us and we would not tariff them.
But
disgusting.
Yes, I watched this. So, but Americans, even the poorer American standard of living, and I'll define what I mean, has raised in the past 20 years, and this is what I mean.
Brian,
there's become an equality of
Brian,
consumption.
do you think this?
There's become a quality of there's become very important factor, an equality of consumption. So as you're talking about these chicken snake gods and lizard people taking control of everything, all that Americans have had to deal with is this: a bigger flat screen TV, a car that runs cleaner and doesn't break down, plenty of carbohydrates, plenty of protein and fat at cheaper and cheaper prices. All the goods you could want. Thank you, Walmart, Kmart, etc. Everyone has a washing machine. Everyone has a cell phone that they can watch and get information from everywhere on at all times. And even in social media, the right-wing pushback has been massive to the point where people like the Daily Wire are making all the money. So I'm not sure where all this evil is coming from, Sam.
And so this is called nonsense cumulative property, and that all the things you just listed equals happiness.
Yeah, you are.
Well, now you're
Brian,
talking.
Brian, this is what happens, Brian.
Yes.
When you live on a beach in California and you think everyone's doing well, and you don't go to parts of the country that are
I do, though. I travel.
Brian, where do you travel to? You stay in nice hotels and you play A-list comedy
First of all, I
clubs.
stay in the nicest hotels.
Okay,
but here's
there we
the
go.
thing. But here's the thing. What
You
I'm trying
are
to say,
delusional, Brian. If you think the standard of living in America is as good as it was 20 years ago,
Well, can we
you're
take-
delusional.
Can we take a look at because we rank pretty high. Can we take a look at the list of highest standard of living?
Now, Brian, as we go down there, what do you think's kind of interesting about this place? Each one of these countries.
are you going to say they don't have a military?
Oh, amazing.
Do you know why they don't have a military?
Why, Brian?
It's very easy and simple. Do you know why?
Why?
Because they have the 800-pound gorilla called America protecting them. Every one of those countries.
So who are you arguing for, me or you?
I am arguing for me.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, but that's a horseshit standard. Horseshit. Go back
What
up.
does that say? Read
Go
that
back
number
up.
out loud
Go
for
back up.
the blind guy sitting here.
Go back
Read
up.
the number out loud. What standard of living were we?
21.
Yeah, but that's horseshit. Here's why. You cannot compare a country as diverse as the United States with 350 million and counting people to a country of 8 million, which is Sweden. And by the way, I know a couple things about Sweden. I have family members in Sweden. Go back to that. Sweden has the highest suicide rate in the world, always has. Sweden is not a socialist country, by the way. It is a capitalist country. It is a market economy.
Brian,
They actually have lower taxes in some categories than the United States. So let's get that out of the way. Keep going, please. Sweden, the Nordic fallacy.
Brian.
Denmark, another tiny country,
Yeah.
and a very homogenous community.
Yeah, exactly,
So
Brian.
that's a ridiculous
Exactly,
comparison.
Brian.
Canada,
Exactly.
you think Canada has a higher standard of living? Interesting. Better
100%.
healthcare. Better healthcare. Mm-hmm. Switzerland, another tiny mountain community, totally isolated.
I don't even know where
Norway,
this is going.
tiny.
Next
Finland,
story.
tiny. Well, you can't compare
No, Brian,
countries of
we
7
can't
million.
compare it.
Countries of 7
We
million to
can't compare it,
350 million.
Brian,
7
you
million.
brought up Europe. You're the one that brought up Europe. You brought it up.
Because
and
you're-
the reason those countries can have such high standard of living is because they don't have to pay for a military. Because you and people like you want us to police the world. So 50 cents of our dollar has to go to policing these
I
states.
don't want us to police the
You
world.
totally
we
do.
have to police
No, we
the world.
don't, Brian. We don't.
So who makes the waterways? Who makes the maritime routes where we get all our goods and services, all our oil? Who keeps the maritime routes free of piracy and of other countries hijacking all that bounty? Who does that? Why is it that we have never had any, not one
but the
act
point
of piracy?
is that
but
you
that's
are
important.
completely wrong in everything you're saying right now.
Who's the policeman of the waterways?
Yeah.
United States.
And what I'm telling you,
For free,
Bryan,
for 7
is
years.
that when 50 cents of your dollar goes to your military so we can protect all these other countries that have a higher standard of living, there's some serious problems going on.
What you're saying,
okay?
No, what you're saying is that it's true. It's true that there is massive waste, corruption, and fraud. I want to play you something. There's massive corruption, waste, and fraud. Hold on.
But this all came from what? Where did this conversation?
While he's looking for that, do you not think that there's a scalability problem? The United States is hands down the biggest country by a long shot. In the top 25.
But dude, when 50% of your dollar goes to the military, you're crippling your country. You're crippling it.
You're right. I mean, no, I think the military-industrial complex is a real thing.
I was just in Canada. They don't have to spend their money on the military. So guess what they get to do? Spend their money on their health care.
Let me play you Matt Gaetz, who gets a lot of shit. He's a Republican lawmaker. I don't know much about him at all.
He's a weirdo.
But I want to play what he said.
He's a real weirdo.
But listen to what he said.
I don't trust anybody with that haircut.
But listen to what he said. This is really interesting. Watch this.
Fourth term. And I'm tired of the way this place thinks you didn't know you.
Watch.
Like I said.
Okay.
It's my fourth term. And I'm tired of the way this place works. I think it's deeply corrupt. I think the lobbyists run the show most of the times. I think people are more interested in servicing their PAC fundraiser than they are the needs of their constituents. And it's a grift game. And the way that what facilitates that grift game is an entire sophisticated structure that ensures that no one's really responsible for the legislating. Right? If we had to take individual votes on individual departments and authorizations and bills and spending, then we would probably be held to account to a greater degree by the people in this country. But instead what you get is every year or so, some multi-thousand-page bill that you get a day and a half to read, and the whole deal is thumbs up or thumbs down on the whole thing. And then you're left with the decision of, voting for a bunch of don't agree with, or leaving out the widows and the orphans and the veterans and the military and things that every American would care about. And we had to force upon the system a better way to deal with legislating as an enterprise. And that had features in policy, features in personnel, and features in procedure. And that's what we were working through.
That's pretty interesting. I agree with him.
Is it not a little bit like the Grand Wizard saying he's sick and tired of racism?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think at least he's calling out the U.S. government on both sides.
But real quick, Bryan,
as a grift game.
Real quick,
which it is.
Just know I've said that exact same thing, and you've pushed back.
No, I haven't disagreed with that.
I said get rid of lobbying. You're like, every day, 50,000 people. Do you give that story about 50,000 people driving into D.C.?
Lobbying, the problem with getting rid of lobbying is that you have a right to petition your government, right? So you have a right, it's part of free speech. You have a right to say to your congressman, we don't want this, and you also have a right to organize fundraising for certain politicians. So you get into the weeds about that. I wonder, though, there is a better way maybe to, like he said, to kind of like get specific about fundraising. I would never have bills. I wouldn't have bills that were 1,000 pages. Yeah.
Bryan,
nobody reads them.
Sadly, the only thing that's going to change this is things are going to have to get way worse. And people are going to have to take to the streets like France. And I don't want that because I love my country. But it's like these people are psychopaths. They're never going to stop unless you stop them.
Yes, but I will say there's a lot about this country that works.
Yeah. But Bryan, do you understand that so much of this comes from the past and they're trying to whittle away at it close, which brings us back to this leak, which is all false flag. And I said,
somebody must have given
the day that it happened.
Yeah,
this is a false flag to shove the Restrict Act down our throats.
Piggybacking off that Gaetz thing, we haven't talked about this at all since it happened. It's kind of a curveball, but
Clarence Thomas, and he's hanging out with billionaires, right? And I will tell you something, brother. I can't stand that. It disgusts me. this guy who has a job for life has to grift and hang out. I'm sorry, dude. And like, this is where we get to that the people on the right then turn their eye to this. And I call out corruption on both sides. The notion that this country or a part of the country thinks that the Republicans are the ones who are fighting for this and fighting for that. There are some new school Republicans I think align more with what I say. And I know everybody hates Major Taylor Greene or whatever her name is. And I'm sure we'll find out what grift she's running. But she says a lot of stuff I agree with. And because she's loud and she is associated with this thing called Q that everyone hates, which, if you're asking me, was the intelligence service beta testing AI to get us to fucking see if we could actually follow this thing. I know you want to hit it, but I think Q was an AI test to see if we could, a beta test of AI.
It wasn't a group of people who just believed that the deep state was more powerful and organized than it actually is.
Bryan, it's like I just can't do this with you every day. You completely forgetting what you said 10 minutes ago.
No, but
it's
Sam,
would
you say that in the government?
What part of so Bryan,
let me ask you a question.
Bryan, what you do right now is you are taking the craziest part of everything and throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
No, I just think there are crazy.
This is what you're doing.
No, I think
so you take like JFK. No, I'm not. He's talking.
But there are crazy people that get together.
I want to talk.
Okay, but there
for
are
a second.
You'd say there are crazy people that get together.
What Bryan's doing is taking JFK Jr. still alive and Patriots in control and these two little things and throwing out everything that most of the people in the queue, including like house moms, college kids, people who never paid attention to politics, understand that Hunter Biden, the servers, Ukraine, Russiagate, Epstein, people learned all that from Q. So you could throw it all out if you want. It's fine with me. All right?
But would you say that there is also a way of misinterpreting and getting the enemy wrong? So there is a problem. So people go, wait, something's not.
Who did the Q people get wrong? I mean, let's throw out for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
JFK's alive.
Pizzagate.
Stop. Pizzagate was totally real. So, and then
Pizzagate's not real.
Patriots in control.
Pizzagate's not real.
Yes, it is. 100%, Bryan. It's 100%. It's Epstein. It's thank you. You're crushing. No. Okay.
The problem is that you
Bryan,
lose me when you start talking about Pizzagate.
It's so funny about you, Bryan.
That's adorable.
You think you're so smart and you fall for every psyop.
No, Sam,
every trap.
Sam.
It's unbelievable.
Sam,
they literally.
There are a lot of people. There are crazy people that get together.
I am trying to be such a good boy.
First of all, there are crazy people that get together. We know that. That's fine. But then there's also
there's a giant pedophile ring that was ran out of Washington, and we know that's true. Okay.
That's not true. But here's the
Bryan,
thing.
You're right. Epstein, Hillary Clinton, totally not.
So good example. So what people will do,
Bryan, by the
is
way,
they'll take bad actors.
I mean, you're very close to it.
No. What they'll do is they'll do this. They'll take people like Sam and Q. We'll do this. They'll go, okay, there are different criminals out there. Jeff Epstein probably worked for some.
Jeff? You only call him Jeff if you're good friends with him, by the way, Bryan.
J Epps, we used to call him J Epps. J Epps was clearly working for Mossad.
Okay.
And Israeli intelligence. Okay. You get that. Then you get Hillary Clinton. You get George Soros. And you get these different people that might have interests, financial and ideological interests that align. They know each other. They run in the same circles. They're part of the cool kid club.
Okay.
I don't think that means all of those people get together in a room and belong to a secret society. What I think is that's so a lot of times you can't lump together all these things that go on and say it's under one banner. Like this is all by design. Nobody's that organized or prescient. Nobody is. It that's the problem is that you guys, and it's adorable, but you guys get all of that wrong.
Bryan,
you draw connections.
Funny
you know
right
guilty
now?
of. I know what it is.
Can we do something?
He's accusing you of something.
He draws.
But how long does he get to talk?
Well, he's almost.
You allowed him to filibuster.
Last thing I say. No. You answer this claim. Sam Tripoli, you and your friends draw parallels, correlations,
and direct lines
Okay.
that are only exist in your collective imaginations.
The only reason I'm not yelling at Dylan because I love his Superman type curl he has on his hair right now. Right? Good. Okay. So what I would love to do, if anyone at home wants to have fun, can we supercut Bryan at the beginning of the show versus Bryan at the end of the show, where Bryan's talking about the Democrats are the boogeyman, and now he's talking about, oh, you're just making this weird connection of everybody who just happens to be Democrats. So just so you know who you were at the beginning of the show and who you are right now are 180 from each other. Just so you know.
No, I think there's corruption.
No, Bryan, but you're literally trying to say that you literally were talking about the Democrats coming after the children, and then I said that there were Democrats going after the children, and you said I was wrong.
No.
So the slicing and the dicing are two different things, but the pedophilia is just cuckoo crazy.
Pizzagate.
Okay, there we go. Silly. Guys, great episode
Wait. Before we do that.
Where are you going to be, Bryan? Great. SamTripoli.com for all of my needs.
Order.
Hold on. To your point, you notice I'm wearing my toe holds?
Yeah.
I don't have an interest in I don't have a financial interest in the company.
Promo code.
No, I don't have a financial interest in the company, but I love the company. They're the best flip-flops. Take a look at Toehold's new rash guard. You're going to love this. And before I show it to you, just know that it's selling so fast, and it's going to appear to your point. It's selling so fast, Sam, and I want to get your take on it. It's selling so fast that they are literally running out of it. I think they have to order a whole new pallet. Okay. But take a look at this, and I want your comment on what you think of the fact that this is crushing. And it was on one post on Instagram. Please bring it up. Go look at that.
What is this?
Flip-flops, toe-hold flip-flops for every occasion.
What is that?
It's a pedophile hanging from
from
a tree. He's got the sign pedo on him, and he's got two kids one with a bloody baseball bat looking at him. Go look at that. That's a rash guard, and it's literally crushing all records.
I love that,
Isn't that great?
I love that.
I mean, and so just to your point, there does seem to be a large community that agrees with you.
Bryan, do you think there's not pedophiles?
I do think there are pedophiles, and I think they're the lowest form of human scum on the earth.
But why, Bryan, when Hillary Clinton had 5, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 different associates be convicted of either, or at least go to trial for child sex trafficking, do you not think that maybe there's something going on?
I'll tell you why.
And wouldn't you rather, Bryan, err on the side of caution?
No.
I
believe in due process and investigating. So here's why. Hillary Clinton knows how many people do you think she's associated with or over her career?
Guys, it's been a great show.
How many? 1 million?
Fun. No,
a million?
Dude, Bryan,
so 5 in a million.
This.
5 in a million.
Played nice
Does that
today,
make her a
and we've
pedophile?
allowed him. Yeah, she's a 100%.
You think she's a pedophile?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Why?
Because
because why?
Because she rapes children.
She what?
What?
You're gonna have to bleep that out.
What word didn't you understand in that?
Now, what is your? Now, this is gonna be a tough one because this is where we get into, and we're gonna end the show on this. But
Bryan,
this is where you panic.
I know.
Do you have any
who have worked with personal bodyguards of her that have seen the unspeakable? Okay, Bryan? Yes, I'm not even kidding right now.
You know bodyguards.
Unspeakable.
She eats children and does all that
she
stuff.
Does bad things to kids.
Does she have a straw in their body and she drinks their blood?
Okay.
And also, why wouldn't they have done something about it?
Because, Bryan,
they might die.
Bryan, do you know what the most dangerous occupation on planet Earth is?
Working for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, there you go.
Because they all die?
Yeah.
It's actually underwater welding.
No.
Thank you.
No, it is literally bodyguarding for the Clintons. Guys, great show today.
You are
as you
Russian
see, Sam
fucking shill.
Constantly,
he's not Sam. His name is
Ivan. Play by rules that Bryan doesn't have to play by.
His name is Ivan Ivanovich, and that's his real name, Ivan Ivanovich, and his middle name is Guan Wu. You're a Chinese Russian plant.
You are a child.
And I'm realizing after this episode, and this is no joke, episode 229, I really have my concerns about where you're really from, what your origins are, and I would like you to bring in your passport.
Bryan, can I ask you something real quick?
I want you to bring in your
passport. I have to ask you a question. Why on the show do you play liberal retard, okay? And then you go on shows that are super conservative.
Because I'm a conservative.
Okay. But yeah, on the show, you're a retard.
I'm a man who believes in free speech. I'm a man who believes that there are two genders. I'm a man who doesn't believe in gender-affirming care for children because I think it's called mutilation. I'm a man who believes in the Constitution.
But you think Hillary's a good person?
I'm a man who believes in judging all people by the content of their character. I'm a man who believes in freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of expression.
For all of my tickets, I just added Reno. And then the third week of June, I'm shooting my special, Weirdo. I just got to find out where I'm shooting it.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you ready for it? Are you really carving down and going to make...
Brian,
are you going to show us how great you are?
Don't worry about it.
No, but are you going to show us how great you are? No, because hold on.
Don't worry about it.
Hold on.
Brian.
Are you going to show us how great you truly are? And you are great.
Yeah.
And you are one of the greatest comics, in my money, one of the best comics ever.
I don't know about that.
Well, I do. But are you going to show us that, or are you going to, in the middle of it, decide, you know what? I'm going to sabotage this shit.
Okay.
I'm going to get weird.
Okay. No, it's called Weirdo. What do you think's going to happen?
I want you to be, all right, you'll be great. I'll come and see it. Where is it?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to find.
I will 100%.
I only do small venues, though.
I will 100% be
tiny venues. Tiny venues.
Why tiny venue?
Because I like it.
No, but you're great. So why?
Okay, I have this theory, Brian. Here's my theory about specials done in huge venues. It doesn't connect with the people who are sitting on a couch at home.
But are we going to promote the shit out of it? Let's promote
I'm going to. I only I want 100 people in there.
Well, why don't you let your friends promote it? And why don't we all? And
I'm just going to put out. I'm not going to do a tour. I'm not going to do.
Why don't we all show up and get people to see it?
Let people find the magic, guys. Great show, Dylan. Where are you going to be? Thank you. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
See you in Portland, kids.
When people ask, is everything a conspiracy? The answer is yes.
Who and what is controlling everything and why? They practice sorcery. I can't argue against magic.
I don't know what it is that we live on, but I believe it's a realm. This realm that we live in is the lowest level of heaven, highest level of hell.
Chicken snake gods and the Anunnaki and sorcery. If Sam says the chicken snake god is running everything, I'm literally in the world of crazy. I'm winning.
You're losing. Conspiracy Social Club, aka Deep Waters.